Hi everybody, Dan Ullman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Aqueduct on Saturday is a Kentucky Derby points prep race. It's the Grade 3 Withers. It's carded as race number 8, and our Withers Stakes preview coverage is presented by DRF Bets. If you sign up for DRF Bets right now, you get a $200 free bet with no deposit required. It's a really nice deal, so head on over to drf.com/join and please use the promo code FREEBET09. Let's take a look at this field of 3-year-olds traveling a demanding 1.125 at Aqueduct on Saturday. Only a field of 6, but we've got 2 solid favorites and a very interesting, well-bred maiden winner from the Todd Pletcher barn.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, in a lot of ways, it does sort of feel like the 9 furlongs is really going to come into play here, especially as it concerns, one of those morning line favorites, Firenze Fire down on the rail. He's the most accomplished horse in this race on the way in. But I really feel like, as talented as he is, and I do think he has some ability, you've got to be worried about him going this 9 furlongs in this race.
I agree. I'm a little bit worried about the 9 furlongs. He's by Poseidon's Warrior. We remember him as a late-running sprinter miler. Firenze Fire has done very good work around one turn. Of course, the marquee win over 2-year-old champion Good Magic in the Champagne. Last time out, pretty game to win the Jerome at a short price. But at a 1.125 against this caliber of competition, the waters are getting deeper.
Yeah, I really think it is. And I just think, is he as talented as some of these other major contenders in this race right now? Yeah, I think he is. I think he's a pretty talented horse. It's just a question of how far do you think he'll go, and I have my real concerns about how far he'll go. His Jerome last time, only an 86 buyer. I think that performance is better than the figure indicates. It was a muddy track, which is, he seems like he's fine with a wet track. But there was just really no pace on in that race. He was wide through the turn in there, and he really had some ground to make up on the pace setter in their 7 Trumpets, who's not a bad horse at all. I love the way this horse came and got that horse at the end and closed him down. I think he's good. I'm really, really worried about the distance for him, though.
He's 4 for 6 lifetime, and those 2 losses, you could argue he had some excuses because our correspondent in New York, Dave Grenning, has reported that he was sick before the Hopeful. He was sick before the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You throw those 2 races out, he's undefeated. He's going to provide a very stiff test to the likely favorite, the morning line favorite, the number 4, Avery Island, who conversely should handle the 1.125. He's by Street Sense out of an AP Indy mare. This horse won the Nashua in fine style, going a 1-turn mile, then ran a really good second by an extremely promising horse, Catholic Boy in the Remsen. I thought he got an education that day. For a horse who was up front in both of his wins, he was down inside, in behind horses, and he finished once he was clear.
I agree with all that stuff. I mean, I liked the way in the Remsen. And first of all, I was a little surprised they didn't get a little more aggressive with him early. On the other hand, I think he probably did get a lot out of that race. He was sort of in behind horses. I liked the way that he held his position through the second turn, but he was always down in there behind horses while Catholic Boy got the clear run, got the jump on him on the outside, and I'm with you. I like the way he finished in that race. I have no real distance concerns with this horse. I think he is the horse to beat, and the morning line suggests that he is.
Let's see what the Timeform US pace projector has in store for the Withers. It is a short field. Pace could be a very important factor. The blue bar indicates our friends at Timeform US believe that this race will be dominated by horses on or near the early lead. California Knight, a stretch-out sprinter, is likely going to be on the lead. He showed sprint gas going 6.5 furlongs, earned a respectable buyer speed figure, but this is just such a big ask, not only from a class perspective, but stretching out 2.5 furlongs.
Yeah, I mean, they're just asking an awful lot of this horse. I mean, he only beat 3 other horses in that race, and he just got right to the front. Yeah, he ran well in there. He was much the best at the end of the day, but this is a totally different ball game. I'm sort of just in the position with him here, and I do think there's a chance he turns out to be pretty good for Maker. I mean, I don't even really care if he makes the lead in this race because Avery Island is the kind of horse who has speed to keep up with him. And I feel like it's going to be too much for this horse at the end of the day.
The great Todd Pletcher trains the 2, the 3, and the 5. The horse that I think a lot of folks believe will be the best of the 3-year-olds from Pletcher in the Withers, when all is said and done, is the number 2, Marconi, a half to Mucho Macho Man. He cost $2 million as a yearling. And perhaps most importantly, he got the win at a 1.125.
Yeah, I think that's very important in this race. You want to take one of these horses going forward. I think Marconi is probably the right one. He was very green first time out. They debuted him at a 2-turn 1.125, and he was very green in that race, very wide. I thought he did well to be second best in there to a stablemate of his. He really took a step forward last time. I thought he got away slowly from the gate again. I don't love that about him. He's been slow from the gate in both of his starts, but he really closed the gap on that field up the backstretch, had to hit the brakes a little bit, but did not lose position. and he finished up strong in that race. This horse has a bit of a future. He's a dangerous horse in this race.
And the third place finisher out of that race did come back to graduate with an 89 Beyer speed figure. The most accomplished of the three Pletcher trained horses right now is the 3, Bal Harbour, a multiple stakes winner, second last time out behind the very promising Mask in the Mucho Macho Man Stakes. He is a really solid, nice colt. I don't think there's really anything flashy or brilliant about him, and I think, you know, this is going to be his toughest test to date.
I agree with that. The other thing about him, and listen, I think he ran well in the Mucho Macho Man last time. When you consider that he got bumped at the start, he was last early as Mask, a really talented horse, just sort of got control of that pace. He was gamely second best, no chance to win that race, but I like that he got second in there. But don't you just sort of feel like he's sort of in the same boat as Firenze Fire as far as the distance of this race goes? And he's probably not as talented as Firenze Fire either.
He has won around 2 turns, but that was at a mile at Monmouth. He got that Carson City on the bottom of the pedigree, which has to have you worried at least a little bit at a mile and an eighth. Colton, Mississippi completes the field. This horse has excuses, I guess, for his 3 losses. 2 wet tracks, 1 in the sapling where he basically bolted going into the first turn. Other than that, he has 2 wins, but 2 slow wins.
Yeah, he's just going to have to be a lot better at a mile and an eighth, and I think that's a little bit of a reach at this point. We'll see if he improves.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 3 Withers Stakes on Saturday. We are both going with Kieran McLaughlin, who has been on quite the roll the last couple of weeks at Aqueduct. We're going with Avery Island, the 4.
Yeah, I think this horse is pretty talented. I'm very interested to see how he does here in his 3-year-old debut. And in a lot of ways, it just came down to distance for me. I mean, I really wanted him and Marconi, and I'll stand against Firenze Fire as much as I respect him.
I'm going to go with Avery Island. I think he'll take the measure of Firenze Fire. Mike's going 4, 2, 1, and 3. I'm going to go 4, 1, 3, and 5 in the Grade 3 Withers Stakes, the feature at the Big A on Saturday. And again, if you're playing the Withers, please consider DRF Bets. If you sign up right now at drf.com/join and use the promo code FREEBET09, you'll access a $200 free bet, no deposit required. Approximate post time for race number 8 at the Big A on Saturday, 4:35 Eastern. Best of luck.